Hello and welcome to our latest video summary of industry news brought to you by Estate Agent Today and Letting Agent Today. The election's over, and while many agents have reported a busier than usual week as buyers and sellers have re-entered the market, the last 7 days have seen something of a return to normal after the long campaign up to polling day. And our lead story at the start of the week was an all too familiar one: newspaper allegations about an estate agency. Brian Cox, an outer London agency with 5 branches, was allegedly asking for £2,000 deposits from buyers before their offers were accepted by sellers and before the home they wanted would be taken off the market. That's what The Guardian reported and what Estate Agent Today carried, but it turns out the truth was a little more nuanced. We spoke with one of the directors of Brian Cox and discovered that out of about 200 sales in the past year, this deposit scheme had been applied in only 40 cases. We discovered this was because some homes were receiving multiple bids, but quite often the offers fell through because buyers had problems getting mortgages or simply changed their minds. The £2,000 was introduced to sort out the serious offers from the chances, according to the agent. But the newspaper publicity has led to Brian Cox returning all of the deposits and abandoning the scheme. Elsewhere in the industry, On the Market announced that it had received 10 million visits since launching at the end of January. It almost goes without saying that Zoopla responded, saying that it receives 10 million visits every 6 days, so there's still some way to go for the new portal. There's also been a spate of stories about individual agencies this week. Branch Properties launched. It's a lettings agency in London aimed specifically at properties which are accessible and appropriate for tenants with disabilities. We've had sales agents identifying disability-friendly homes for sale, but never a lettings agency. This is a real welcome development. We've also had another new Century 21 branch open, this time in Kent. The franchise giant is apparently the world's largest estate agency, and it says it will be launching more UK offices later this year. And Purple Bricks, the high-profile online agency, this week gave its biggest hint yet it would be floating next year, with an initial public offering in May 2016. In the letting sector, we've had more evidence this week of landlords and letting agents getting into trouble. Letting Agent Today has carried a series of reports, mainly of landlords fined for neglecting their properties or failing to get appropriate licences. That theme was taken up towards the end of the week by Paul Weller, the chief executive of Leaders Lettings Agency. He says it must be a priority of the new Conservative government to increase regulation and finally get the rental sector to clean up its act. A similar plea came this week from Brian Murphy, the head of the Mortgage Advice Bureau. It looks likely that some kind of reform of the private rental sector is going to be one of the big themes of the Tory government over the next 5 years. If the political leaders do dedicate themselves to this task, we all have to hope they make a better job of it than they did of announcing the new housing minister. On Monday, we were told by Downing Street the new housing minister would be Mark Francois. No doubt a very nice chap, but someone with no experience of housing at all. By Tuesday morning, rumours began to circulate on Twitter that it wasn't Mark Francois after all, and indeed that turned out to be true, because Brandon Lewis has instead been named housing minister. He held the job in the final year of the coalition government and is widely perceived to have done a very competent job. To the industry's disappointment, however, Lewis will not be in the cabinet, a sign in the opinion of many estate and letting agents that the issue of housing just isn't taken seriously enough by any government. That's it for this week. Don't forget our new look Estate Agent Today and Letting Agent Today brings you the very latest news every weekday morning. These sites really are the very best way to keep informed on what our industry is up to. And of course, there will be another video summary of the week's 7 days from now. See you next time.